Ladies and gentlemen, Drew Sidora.
Oh, so she's gonna sing it.
Why is the reunion stage like a seance in a wine aunt's house? What is going on with that setup?
Wow.
No, I love the clip. It was awesome. I just, I love the messy blending of performance and genuine untamable emotions, and especially when you can't figure out where one starts and one ends. Like, that's one of the chief qualities of reality TV to me, is just showing how much the idea that there is a clear distinction between like what's performance and what's real emotion is kind of just a fake dichotomy. And so I love the kind of weird awkwardness of that. Not down with Andy like mugging for the camera and then being like, she's singing to him.
I don't know. I kind of appreciated like what Andy was doing there. He needed to give people permission to laugh. Like, us as viewers at home needed like permission to awkwardly relieve the tension.
I get it. That's his job, but I rather just stay awkward. I prefer to bathe in the awkwardness.
I mean, 6 out of 6 peaches for sure, man. Just holy cow. Like, amazingly, like the most inappropriate in every way. It wasn't a bad song, but it was maybe not the place, right? Maybe not the place. Wow. Like, the bravery. So brave.
This is the first time we've had this like breakup ballad that I can remember, and to get it like directed, like sung to the subject of it is just such an amazing moment. To get that
to
on
see
TV.
his face, like hearing it for the first, just
watching
he was
him like
dying
boil
on that stage.
Yeah. Which, is surely what Drew wanted, right? She gets to have like a real life, sort of real life, between quotation marks, like musical number moment. She's she is a seasoned musical veteran, and saw her moment to do like a real life musical bit, and and kind of humiliate Ralph in the process. Awesome.
This is step up
Beautiful
too.
Power play. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Bravo Outsider Podcast. I'm your host, Craig Midwinter, joined as usual by Dylan Ferguson. Dylan, how's it going?
Going great. Happy to be here with the Buzzin' Cousins.
Yeah, hell yeah. Each week we bring on someone who doesn't follow Bravo to get their takes on the episodes. Joining us this week from Crash Course DM, it's Josh Greenway.
Hey everybody, I'm Josh, allergic to stupidity and absolutely covered in hives.
Wow, that is excellent. I'm going to say that is a Lisa Vanderpump tagline.
Oh, that is exactly who, yeah.
Awesome. We're stoked to have you here. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the podcast that you host.
Absolutely. So I'm Josh, obviously. I have no idea what I'm doing at any point in time, especially with my podcast. The whole bent there is it's a Dungeons and Dragons live play / documentary where me, the dungeon master, I don't really know how to play or be a DM. I just kind of had that arrogant thought of, I bet I could do that. And I thought it would be funny to document the process in a very public way and give people an opportunity to give me their feedback and kind of incorporate that as I go. And then just me as a person, I'm very like goals oriented. I actually do want to get better as a DM in this. And so it'll be a fun journey to see how things progress and maybe I'll get out of my own way and get good at it, sort of a deal.
Awesome. So do you have much of a background when it comes to reality TV? Are there any specific reality shows that you watch?
So I don't make it a habit of, like, I'm not a regular consumer. There are shows I've seen in the past, like if I am not watching the TV, I'll put on a reality cooking show because I can just go look and be like, that looks like a dope meal, cool, and go back to what I'm doing. And then I've seen episodes of Inked, and that is real spicy. But yeah, that's about as far as I've got into the reality TV world.
Awesome. Let's talk about the episodes of Real Housewives. We got a lot to cover, so we're going to talk about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Real Housewives of Orange County, and Real Housewives of New York today. What was what was the first of these episodes that you watched, Josh?
The first one that I made a mistake and I watched the Orange County one first, and not SLC, which would have been easier to step into. But Orange County was the first one on the docket. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's start with Orange County. What were your highlights from this?
So I'm gonna pick two moments that really kind of stuck out to me. The very first one was like cold open on Shannon trying to improve her Sidawonic device with the doctor, who is clearly not that like worried about like the quality of product he's putting out. I mean, she's a low-key genius. She's like, I'm a consumer, listen to the user of the product. I have some really good ideas for how you could improve. She needs to get away from that dude and break out on her own. She has the right mindset.
Yeah. If only she was a doctor. I feel like like
if only he was a doctor. Come on.
Yeah,
Dr.
let's be
Mood.
real. Like he's more predator than doctor.
I love these bullshit doctors that they have on these shows. Like I want that job. I want to be Dr. Mood. I want to be like an intuitive healer guy who you just show up, pay me money, and I say things like, the biggest stress is gravity. Sure, sounds great. That sounds like a real thing. I'll take it.
Yeah, and then he just like fixes her body with like some booty hole cartography and light negging. Like what?
Yeah.
I have to say, this is probably the most like unique product that Housewife has ever put out. Like, we've seen lots of wines and home goods, but never an at-home colonic. This is a new one, so I'm really hoping she gets this.
I love how she shows up in his office and says first thing, Dr. Mood, you look good, and he who does not responds with, okay.
Yeah, he's used to the cheap sell. He doesn't cut any corners, so he's like, well, you do not.
Yeah.
But no, yeah,
amazing.
That one really, like, just way to start the series for Greenway. Yeah. Holy cow. And then another thing that stuck out was when later in the episode, Ryan met Jennifer's mom for the first time somehow, which doesn't feel like that should have been possible. And I've never seen somebody try so hard to throw themselves under a bus, or at least that's how it was edited. Like, are you super uncomfortable right now? Let me just talk to you about how unfaithful I was, and we'll just get all this out of the way. Like, whoa.
Yeah, this was a standout scene for me too, especially how often Jennifer's mom had to like bring up how great of a husband her ex Will is. Like multiple times just mentioning like he was a good husband, and Jen's like, yeah, he's a good man, and her mom's like,
he was a good
but
father.
he was a good husband.
Yeah, specifically husband. Yeah. I also love how like Jenn teases the idea that Ryan's not great with fashion, and then Ryan shows up looking like he bought the 6 ugliest jackets he could buy, cut them apart, and stitched them together into an even uglier jacket.
Like he's in the fake it until you make the fake it part of fake it until you make it, to being the guy who can dress so fashion forward with ugly clothes it looks good.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna get there.
There was a few like strange fashion moments here. Terry Dubrow, Heather's husband, got called out for wanting to pair a like red tie with a pink pocket square,
polka dot
like
pocket
that.
Square. Yeah.
But nowhere near as egregious as Ryan's moment.
At least Ryan's like leading into it. That's like his personal style brand is hideous. It's somehow more offensive to just have like a pink note and a red note, just be slightly off. Like
that's true.
It's
at least
kind
be
of more
aware of
cool
it
to just
and
lead
power
into
clash.
it. Just,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
There's a little bit of intent behind Ryan's. Like, he's not intentionally trying to be bad, but he's intentionally trying to be something.
Edgy,
so
yeah, at least he's not like pulling stuff off the rack and just kind of like...
Which is what most of the guys do on the show, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just like the most bland outfits. Like I guess on some level, absolutely horrible, disgusting bullshit on your body is better than being bland. But when I say it out loud, I don't believe it.
On paper it doesn't work.
Yeah. But when you say it out loud, it also doesn't work.
Did you have any other highlights from Orange County?
Let me see here. Oh man. So I like my first exposure to Jennifer was like her and her talking to her mom about the kids kind of coming home soon and trying to be like more momly in between things, and then they've randomly decided to make cookies, but she's never made cookies before, and she's gonna do that from scratch real quick before the kids get home in 10 minutes or whatever the time frame was. That just felt unnecessarily insane.
That's a clear cookie rookie right there.
We do have the same measuring cup, so that's cool.
Twinsies.
Dylan, how about you? What were your highlights from Orange County?
On the subject of Jen's mom, I just really like her Okie accent, so I'll just shout out to that. I do think Heather, good on Heather for getting her own channel on Fireside. That's it's a big step up for her. Of course everybody's
she can Instagram live now.
Everybody knows by now that everything that the famous Fireside app is capable of. So it's really cool for Jen or for Heather to take part in this platform that's content that's not just shaping culture, but it's driving commerce. It allows for interactivity in a way we really haven't seen from other platforms.
Have you ever heard of anything so SEO friendly as HD Network? I mean, come on.
Yeah, so it's great for her to have an opportunity for her brand and IP to really go direct with fans and create a unique fan experience that she can monetize from day one, because it really is the world's first interactive community.
Are you reading off the webpage right now?
Yes. Well, actually, not quite. I'm reading off some text that I copied from a promotional video on their website. That was my introduction to when I Googled, because of course I wanted to figure out what the fuck the Fireside app is. And they have this great promotional video featuring 6 niche nano celebrities, one of whom is Heather Dubrow.
Of course.
But the main celebrity who's their main spokesperson, giving this really bland, vague explanation of what this exciting new app is a psychic. So I just think when you're trying to you're trying to push this on people, and your public face is a professional con man. It's not nothing against psychics. Actually, scratch that. Everything against psychics, but they are professional con men or con women. I see you, ladies, but it's not a great look for your brand. And what's also really funny about the video is when Tamra is God bless Tamra, is the one person being in there being okay, what's different about it?
Yeah.
How? What does that mean? And the one thing Heather could come up with is well, your fans can applaud you or cheer you.
You can hear their laughter.
Holy cow. That is the worst feature for live TV of all time. When your terrible TV show comes out and all you hear is boo, or the one guy who figures out how to troll it and he's got 19 televisions in his room, people are gonna spam the living daylights out of that.
Yeah, but in that promotional video, that's also literally the only thing they ever mentioned to show something that's different from any other streaming platform is they've got they're I don't know, VP of marketing or something, interviewing Howie Mandel in a little clip and saying, and you can put up an applause button. It's just what is that even? Why would you want that? What does that mean? And why is that the only feature you're mentioning and this whole video? So yeah, great that she's part of the Fireside app. That's going to change the world. It's going to revolutionize everything. Very
Definitely
excited.
isn't a white labeled TikTok.
Yeah.
This launch party was a amazing moment for me. This was probably my highlight of this episode. I love how drunk Emily got right
Thank
off
God
the bat.
for Emily showing fucking wasted, because otherwise the scene would have just sucked. And then instead Emily, for some reason, just shows up having apparently chugged a bottle of champagne for breakfast. Starts eating the same way a guinea pig does at the table. God bless her.
I like that she ended up having 4 drinks on the go before they got seated that were half finished on that little cocktail table.
And I think between every one, they got an audio clip of her being oh, I've already had too much to drink.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, shout out to Gina being a very good sober friend to a drunk friend. She was doing a really good job being like, no, swallow it. You know?
Yeah.
Also, what a brilliant walking facial expression for that entire scene. Like when they're sitting around the table and she's just the eyebrows the entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought this was like the perfect moment for like self-insertion. Like I feel like I have made Dylan a Gina to my Emily situation at some point, being
And vice
like
versa.
yeah. Yeah, but like just being in that situation where, you know, you've got a friend that is like too drunk, and it's like, I know that I'm not going to be able to like redirect this. I've just got to, you know, kind of try to manage the situation is so funny and so relatable.
Yeah, I've definitely had my moments of being like, please check EmilySimpson.com. You can hire me.
What other highlights did you have here, Dylan?
Just a quick note that while I'm kicking Heather while she's down, it is like it is such an annoying, aggressive thing to ask if somebody's coming to your event, specifically the way Heather does when she texts Shannon, like, are you going to Texas or are you coming to my thing? Like providing like A or B options without like an option for like just saying, no, I can't make it, is like just an unnecessarily aggressive, overbearing way to talk to your friends.
It's like getting instructions from a boss at a corporation, you know, like
Yeah.
you don't have any outs. Here's your decisions, employee.
Yeah, it's like saying, are you coming into work or do you have a doctor's note? You know, like it's being too aggressive.
Yeah. Speaking of too aggressive, like everybody got very up in arms about the house sale, which I was very surprised about. I don't think I've ever had a friend run their house sale by me to be like, just so you know, this is gonna happen.
Yeah.
Is that like common on the show? Do the housewives all run the house sales by each other? I'm in apartment life now.
Yeah, I like, it's not particularly common. It is common for them to just like use whatever to, you know, leverage that as an opportunity to maybe have a pile-on from the rest of the wives. We saw that happen, like a similar situation happen in New York, where they're just trying to like stir something up. This was easy. I feel like Heather's just getting owned strategically this season. This has not been very good for her. Also, I feel like the way that like we've been getting the exposition around this sale from her and Terry has been so stiff, and it's so funny that her like main goal that she's articulated this season is that she wants more acting jobs, because every time that she's on screen to try to like drive the plot of this house sale forward, it is so stiff, where she's like, oh, by the way, we close tomorrow, Terry, like I'm telling you this right now in the middle of the party, as if we don't already know.
You didn't believe their super cool dance party about the house sale overlaid with all the drama?
Yeah. it's so stiff, and I don't think that anyone's going to be knocking on her door for more acting roles like she's expecting from this.
Yeah, just wait till they see her on Cameo. I mean, Fireside, or that'll do it.
Quibi, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Speaking of like sort of like trying to draw up turmoil, something I wanted to ask you guys if this is accurate. I get the impression that like, especially from them sitting at dinner in Mexico and the ladies kind of trying to air their dirty laundry, it seemed like Tamra was specifically brought around to be the person who is like just stirring up the shit to make everybody else like start catfight. Like that's the only thing I saw her do the entire dinner. Or she was laughing behind her napkin at the reactions.
Yeah. That's why she has a spoon in every pocket. That's
yeah, she's got a spoon in every pocket. That's right. She's like particularly good at that. So she has been on, like, she joined Real Housewives of Orange County season 3 or something like that, and she is really kind of a genre-defining housewife. She made Modern Housewives what it is, so she's like particularly good at that. And this is her first season back after being on break for a couple seasons, put on pause, as she says in her tagline.
Now she's ready to play.
Yeah, now she's ready to play, and we're seeing it, and we're reaping the benefits because she is so good at stirring that up. Yeah. One of the things that was really interesting about that scene that you brought up is the fact that everyone was kind of reluctant to bring it up. So Tamra just brought it up, because I think that, people that have a bit more sort of skin in the game, they need to be thinking more strategically about their social position within the show and the friend group. Um, they aren't necessarily going to want to be the person that brings this up and being seen as just like stirring up drama, because that's something that someone can turn around, just like toss a label on you and kind of use it to downplay any future issues that you might have that are a bit more legitimate. But Tamra doesn't care. She's going to bring it up and stir it up. She makes a decision quickly, and learns to adapt with the consequences very quickly. And that's one of the things I think that makes her just such an amazing housewife. I think we covered Real Housewives of Orange County for me. Let's get into the premiere of Salt Lake City. Usually we, when a new season starts, we review taglines. But we didn't get taglines this week. We instead got
Bible verses.
We got Bible verses.
Yeah.
Are those going to be their taglines? Are the taglines going to be the Bible
Oh.
verses?
It took me an embarrassingly long time to realize that they were Bible quotes. I was like, Psalm is not 55. She looks like she's in her 30s. Easy. What sort of tagline is this anyway?
What were your initial thoughts on this episode? I feel like getting this introduction would be a real you'd get whiplash coming out of
And
Real
what an
Housewives of Orange
introduction.
County. What an introduction.
Like,
Yeah,
can we just
yeah.
talk about how fucking hard they went in the first 2 minutes before they put the title card up? That was insane.
Totally. Yeah.
It
It
starts
was
off
amazing.
as a found footage horror movie, a very good found footage horror movie, and then immediately goes into epic footage of this snow drifted streets and people and the women in slow motion gazing at each other over their shoulders with really heavy Bible quotes. I don't know why the editors thought they had to cook like that for the intro to season 4 of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City on Bravo, but bless them for doing that.
It felt like it was ramping so much that I thought that cameraman who was bored at the beginning and went to grab the camera, I expected him to go over the edge of the balcony where somebody had fallen or something. I was like, she's freaking out right now.
Yeah. I was picturing the editors if you ever see a promotional clip for a hip hop album where they've got all the producers in a studio and they're passing around a spliff and just really feeling it and just making eye contact and nodding their heads at each other and vibing. That's how I pictured the editors when they're cooking up that intro in their suite, because they were feeling it so hard.
I thought it was perfect the way that it was executed, because we got this camera that was sitting on the ground just idle and watching things kind of move around it. It was this chaotic scene that was emerging, and someone picks up the camera, and we start in a state where the fourth wall is broken, and we watch it slowly be constructed until we enter into this constructed introduction over sepia tones where people are reading Bible verses, and we get this really interesting, completely constructed introduction scene. I thought it was beautiful to be able to watch this fourth wall be constructed before our eyes.
They could have ended the episode after the title card, and I would have been bravo,
Totally.
5 stars.
You know what it makes me think of, especially is playing it back in my head as you describe it, is in every good heist movie or superhero movie when they're suiting up or they're getting back into shit, it was the production team was going through that. They're flipping their Superman cape on and getting out the window or something.
For sure.
Yeah, and then the first scene that we get right after is Lisa Barlow setting up for a Sundance party. I'm like, oh, is this for the intro? Did the intro get into
Did
Sundance?
it win at Sundance? Because it fucking should have.
Yeah, no, instead it was just John being really bored. So that was cool. And then Lisa being I think it's really important we're all together, except if I'm getting a text message.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I love about John's reaction there is you can tell that he knows that Lisa is going to change the topic at any second. So it's not worthwhile investing too much emotion into what she's saying, because she's just about to shift gears at any minute.
Yeah, I loved how she was emphasizing the importance of family while constantly like getting distracted and reading off like text messages. I thought like it was kind of supportive the way that he was handling it though. Like he knew that he shouldn't like get too into it and just let her do her thing, because obviously this is like a historically very busy time for her. Like she's the Sundance queen. Yeah, so
When the
we get
sun's
to see
dancing,
her
you know.
in the like the role of, you know, doing her boss stuff. And I think Lisa Barlow is just such a fantastic housewife, so I love seeing her in like boss mode.
Super visceral, like it's so real too. Like we all kind of have to balance that, but it's that magnified times 10, kind of with all that stuff. And then she's like, I don't know why my kid feels like he's different than me and his dad, which is heartbreaking.
Yeah,
So it's like it's interesting to see, and then also like, why don't you see it?
yeah. But I also thought it was interesting that like seeing this like push pull between your parents, like parent and child, and someone like trying to branch out, how that is the same everywhere, whether you're like deeply religious or not. Like we've seen like seeing like Lisa Barlow specifically, who is the Mormon on the cast, and have that push and pull where like she has like less conservative ideas for what she wants her son to do, and he's like, no, I'm going to go on a mission, is like really interesting to see that dynamic, because it's a lot more complex, and you know, it's not what I would expect. I would expect an older generation to be like, oh, you should go on your mission and then go to school, but it was the opposite in this case.
Yeah, and like respect if that's what you're doing, but also like if that's just like a really sick cop out, like mom can't argue with that either. Like if he's just like, I'm not gonna go to school, like
that's what I was kind of thinking too. Like this is like a handy card he has in his pocket to play. If he's like, I just want to like kind of drop out for a while, smoke
Jesus
weed, hang
said,
out with
Mom,
my buds.
you know.
You can be like, it's a mission, Mom. You know what that is.
One thing that stuck out to me was actually the next person, Heather, Bad Mormon. What an amazing book title, even better band name, and I think she should consider that. But loved her intro to everything. Like she was like one of my favorite people immediately. But I did not for a second believe she was actually shoveling that driveway.
Yeah, she like we see her at first. I don't know. She's shoveling snow in like a fur puffer jacket and heels.
Yeah,
very
as one
very
does.
good look.
Just the idea of shoveling snow in heels just like makes me just wince at the possibilities of, you know, breaking your coccyx or something. That sounds very dangerous.
Josh, what other highlights did you have from Salt Lake City?
Let's see here. So I mean, the entire Fresh Start party was just what a fresh start on drama. Great job. You nailed it, ladies. I mean, just 6 out of 6 snowflakes for sure. That's my thing now, I guess. I mean, it was like just what a fun like churn and burn on like, let's wrap up some old drama, but there was a lot of setup on things like Lisa and Mary's kind of unresolved nonsense. It was kind of odd seeing her so chill at the party after hearing the text messages read from Lisa that she had sent her. I was like, oh wow, you're just hanging out. Okay, cool. I wish I had that kind of chill.
I love when she just reads out the text messages and they get more and more unhinged. It was really a funny moment to me. You're going to kill someone with your tequila or something.
Yeah.
Really glad to have Mary back on our screens. She was missed last season for sure. I love that the intro that we got from Mary was like a montage that includes some like memorable quotes like, Jenn smells like a hospital and you can go, little girl.
Yes. Also, I like how her first scene, she's immediately litigious. You need to fix this store. Like it almost, the implication is like, I might sue you if you don't.
And she said that she's in dinosaur mode, which I have no idea what she meant at first.
I think it's when you forget how to use a cell phone, right? Or
Oh, okay. Well, then she ordered a salad, and the way she was shoveling it into her mouth, like just huge bites. And I'm like, oh yeah, mega herbivore. I get it.
Yeah. Just pushing 6 leaves of lettuce into her mouth.
Yeah.
Just forcing it down the chute.
Amazing. Joshua, you have any other highlights from Salt Lake City?
Let's see here. So, this moment stood out because I have this friend too. But Angie's kind of reaction to Lisa always talking about how when she used to live in New York and like back in New York, but when we were in New York and like back in New York, when we lived in NYC, the 212, shut up. Oh my God. You're not there. Go back if you like it so much. So I felt that in a big way.
Dylan, what about you?
I don't know why it's a big deal to have like how much DNA there is in like a bathtub. Like if there's a lot of DNA in a bathtub, that doesn't mean it's like gonna make you sick. Like, is this fucking Gattaca? Who cares if there's DNA in a bathtub? I don't understand what the issue is there. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like we need to address the rumors that the Brav Bros podcast has said about us taking baths together.
It's fine.
Yeah,
it's normal. And if you want to see us do it, you can see it on Fireside. We've got a new channel.
There's a lot of soap involved. Together. I can vouch.
We tell you when you need to applause. Don't worry. You don't have to guess.
And it does help a lot. The applause meter is crucial.
Yeah, that's how we monetize the channel. Mark Cuban's going to shut us down if we don't get enough applause. Lisa's jacket at the party was a highlight. She just looks like somebody who's like selling the worst drugs at a music festival.
Yes.
Oh, and that was one of Mary's old jackets, I think, is what they were saying.
Oh, I think I missed that part, but that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Yeah.
It was basically the only thing Mary liked about her being there.
Yeah.
I don't know if sushi nachos is a thing that like at other restaurants. I've never heard the term sushi nachos before, but it sounds horrific to me. It just sounds like a really bad idea.
That's the whitest thing of all time, right? Like there's no way that
totally.
Yeah.
They didn't really show like a close-up of it, probably to like spare our eyes.
Yeah, I don't think they could get a good shot.
I was really curious about what that would even fucking look like. It sounds very weird.
It's just like tortilla chips with like cooked fish on top.
Yeah. just slivers of salmon.
Yeah. I like that this restaurant, I think it was called Bahama Bucks, which is like another very white sounding restaurant.
What's really funny is that is in Phoenix where I live, that is like a shaved ice chain for desserts.
Maybe they cater too. You never know.
Yeah. Some franchises have different ingredients,
And they got the waiter from Bahama Bucks to like referee the snowball fight at the end, which was amazing.
I will say that snowball fight was just the best way to end like an episode and probably a day in general. I'm sure that was so cathartic.
And I love that we got the like for the new housewife Monica, we got like an elf edit where she's like hucking the snowball so fast.
And then the cutaway to Mary sitting inside like, wait, are they really having fun up there?
Yeah.
Like she made the wrong call, but it was too late.
I don't really actually know Salt Lake City. I'm a newcomer to the show. So one of the things that struck me right off the bat was that they all have like a really unique cadence. I think the way they speak, they all speak in a really interesting way to me. So that was just kind of a general note to me. They all speak in an odd way. I find that I found really entertaining. Can
you impersonate it? Like if you had to do your best SLC wife accent right now, like how would it sound?
Oh, I couldn't, honestly. Just gonna say no.
Oh man, okay, that's fair. I couldn't do one either. If I'm being honest, it would just be offensive Valley Girl. So
yeah, but there's a very like halting way to the way they form their sentences that I was just like, I feel like I've never quite heard like everybody speaking with this sort of cadence in the same room before. This is very, very interesting to me.
But it's also distinct, like the way that Lisa Barlow talks and the way that Whitney talk are so different from each other.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know, like I assume a lot of them come from other places. I don't know where Lisa comes from originally. No, I do know she comes from New York, right? Yeah. I thought it was
Upstate New York.
Yeah, it was very Midwest coded of her to order a Diet Pepsi and a cocktail at the same time, right? That's something I've learned
Yeah.
recently. I thought Whitney had a good like episode of like standing her ground and like being very confident, and had a good line about like, I don't know what vacation rental you're currently staying at, but I assume that you are just like plastic wrapping the furniture to get your deposit back. I thought she delivered that pretty well. And she has a confessional look where she looks like a mummy in like a Christopher Lee movie, so that's cool too.
There were some really good confessional looks. I think it was it Angie who had the Britney Spears "Oops, I Did It Again," like basically the exact same, like the high pony and the like tight fitting red shiny thing.
Oh yeah, I hope she brings out like a python, an albino python for like one of the moments. That'd be cool.
Have these folks never opened a bottle of champagne before to try to get it to spray everywhere or something? That was one thing I noticed in the episode, was like they expected, it seemed like they were expecting when they opened the champagne bottle some kind of bigger reaction, because one of them was standing in front of everybody else with it, but she didn't shake it up. So it was just like, you got the cork off, good job. Also, nobody read Heather's book. That was
I mean, come on, what do you expect?
Yeah.
How much do you think even Heather read when she got like the proofs from her ghostwriter?
Yeah,
right.
totally.
Yeah.
I'm sure even she just skimmed it. Come on, be real.
yeah, that's fair. She's read just as much as they have.
She set herself up for asking that though. Like, of course nobody read it. I'll buy a copy, Heather. I'm sorry. I just felt
just get the audiobook.
Yeah. Split the difference.
Yeah, no, I was gonna ask Dylan what your thoughts were on the new Housewives, but I guess since this is your first season watching, they're all a little
they're all new
to
me. Like I know Lisa a little bit just from, I don't know, things I've seen online or whatever, and I've got to know Heather and Whitney a little bit from the recent girls trip.
Right,
that we covered a bit, so I've got to meet them. But otherwise, yeah, they're basically they're basically all new to me. Monica's new, right? That's a new one.
Monica's new and Angie is new.
Right. A lot of promise there. Monica especially is like just like seems like a very like loud blabbermouth, and that's very promising. I really like her energy.
Yeah. The fan base has already like started to dislike her, which is a very promising sign to me.
I like her that much more. Team Monica.
I think it's very like fantastic casting on Bravo's part to cast someone who was like a federal witness in the case against a former housewife who is now behind bars.
Great move.
Just a pro move.
Yeah.
Like, especially somebody coming in cold on all of that, like getting the sort of spicy reactions to all of that, while they also eventually explain what the hell happened that they're all talking about. It was some premium drama to sit in.
Yeah, and it was such a complex relationship that is hinted at between her and Jen Shaw. Like, she obviously had like an adversarial relationship at the end when she's testifying against her in court, but also all her information comes from Jen, and she's like, oh, well, Jen never said anything nice about anyone, so I'm just gonna try to go in fresh. But all their dark secrets are heavily weighing upon my mind. It's just such a ominous thing to say in a confessional. I loved it.
Yeah. Great phrasing. Like she's in like an Edgar Allan Poe story. Really good stuff
there. Any other highlights from Salt Lake City, Dylan?
No, that about covers it for me.
All right, yeah, I think that about does it for Salt Lake City for me. Let's finally get into Real Housewives of New York. Josh, what were your thoughts on these housewives?
So this was the season that I thought was the most like what I expected from like Real Housewives. Like I got the taglines and more of the title card stuff, and the pacing from a production standpoint was not as hectic as I felt like some of the other ones were. So it was an interesting, like, different show to watch. It almost feels like there's a different like team maybe working on it or something. So it was a lot easier to follow than the other ones for me, for sure.
Yeah, totally. I mean, this is a trip. They're on their first cast trip of the season, so they're all kind of locked up and can't really do anything. And we get to see them in close quarters over an extended period of time, which is always interesting because it's a contrast to, like you say, a standard episode like we got of Orange County and of Salt Lake City, where we see them a bit more in isolation or grouped off or whatever. There's no way to escape conflict for the most part.
Yeah, and you could definitely see that bubbling up a couple of times through the episode. There were, I can't remember which ones off the top of my head, but it was like Jessel and Sai in particular. There were a few times during it that I could tell they were like, "Why are we doing this right now? Just stop!" And it just was not gonna stop.
Yeah, totally. What highlights did you have from this episode?
This was definitely the episode that I took the most notes on. I was like, why is this happening? Why is this happening right now? It seemed like they're so it kind of opened on. I mean, one of my highlights was definitely Ubah's tagline: "My secret ingredient, darling, it's me." I don't know what to do with that. That's like KFC telling you that the 11 herbs and spices are all just like flour. Like, I don't think it helps the brand. So it's just like, of all the taglines, I was like, yeah, that's not a good one. Like, it's not helping you. Where at least like Brynn was like an awesome casual monster. Like, I love to laugh, but make me mad and I'll date your dad. Like, that was cool. You know, she took a positive stance. A highlight was definitely getting the taglines. I was ready for those. What a weird jump from Jenna, you're trash for not sharing your real name with us, to be careful, Jenna, there's a lot of bones in that fish. And just the whole conversation about where Jenna was at emotionally and like how she needed to check in with the other housewives is wild to me.
Yeah, really fascinating moment there. The way that everybody's kind of circling around Jenna, like ready to criticize her, but also being like, but we want to love you more. Like, we want like more of your side of the story because we just love you so much. And also we're so angry at you for not sharing enough with us. Like, it's just like that blend of like caring and hostility of everybody just kind of swarming her like sharks was like really fascinating to me.
And then like Jessel, right before that, they like asked her to tell more about herself and they all tuned out immediately, and all of their talking heads were like, what a fucking like all about herself.
That was a really like bitchy edit they gave her though, because like you said, they're literally like, tell us something about you, Jessel, you have to share more, and then immediately transition into the look at her blabbering on edit with the crossfades and like the check this bitch out music's playing, and just all the reaction shots of them being like, oh my god, is she actually telling us about herself? We just said that as a joke.
Yeah.
That like overshare edit is like the equivalent of a housewife dad joke that gets me every time. Like, every time they do it, I always end up like laughing at it. I just love to see it. So no complaints on that for me.
Yeah, to be fair, like it's not that I don't understand the reaction. Like, when they do have a clip of her being like, and then my uncle was discovered by, like, why are you talking about your uncle? Who fucking cares about your uncle? And I do kind of get where they're coming from, even though I thought they kind of did her dirty, both the editors and everybody around here. But I do kind of get where they're coming from when she like kind of wants to join in the whole like, you know, I had a rough upbringing too, thing, and nobody quite believes her, and I don't know what her upbringing actually was, so I don't know the facts, but I do get why they're suspicious, because I am too, because it's like Jenna says, like, well, it's the English accent. It's not just the English accent, it's the type of English accent she has, right? She's not talking like fucking Eliza Doolittle there. She's talking like, you know, I hope your mom's ashes are at least in a Chanel bag or a Hermes bag.
Yeah.
She has a very entitled sort of English accent, which not fair to judge her solely on that, but you know, it definitely does seem to tell you some things about her.
Also, compared to the SLC episode, which also only had one brand name drop, way to use it. I love it was in the context of mom's ashes and not random purse by the table.
Yeah. I did think like Sai's story actually really got to me. Like, I was a little misty-eyed. Like, it was a very good
totally
emotional moment. Like, the specific details, you know, them drawing the eyebrows on the park bench, you know, those details were really like really was like very, very emotional to me. So to
Good
have
story, well told.
good story,
Yeah.
well told. I mean, bad story, but like I know we know what we mean.
Effective story.
Yeah, we know what we mean. But it was like a funny like hard cut to switch to Jessel making that comment about like a Chanel bag afterwards.
Also, the car ride after dinner. Do any of us believe that Erin really didn't know what WAP was? Do we?
I
Yeah,
believe
no
that.
way.
I believe
Oh,
that.
no,
She's
I don't
square
believe
as
it.
fuck. Yeah. I think.
But like, if you were like walking anywhere with a radio in it, or playing like on speakers in 2022, I mean,
Yeah.
WAP. It was a
It
cultural
was-
moment.
It was, yeah.
like we
It
all
was
had a
also
WAP for a
during-
minute.
It was also like during the pandemic, I think. So I wouldn't like blame somebody for like just not paying attention. Actually, no, wait.
All you
everybody was
could
paying
do is
to
pay
pop
attention.
culture, but
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's all you had to do.
reverse it.
I don't.
Yeah.
She
Yeah,
had
never
one
mind.
job.
Okay, you're convincing me. Yeah, she's faking. But also, like, who was it? Was it Sai that said like if she doesn't know what WAP is, she listens to ABBA. Like,
Yeah.
those aren't mutually exclusive. Come on, us people who listen to both Megan Thee Stallion and ABBA need to have some respect. If you wanted to make that comment, you should have busted out the Grateful Dead, which we know that at least Abe listens to, and presumably her. That would have worked better.
And if anybody thinks that Megan Thee Stallion doesn't listen to ABBA, come at me in the comments. Let me know, because I'm pretty sure she does too.
I'm absolutely sure she does. Yeah, convinced
For sure.
Prove me wrong, Megan.
This dinner scene, I thought we got like a lot of housewives starting to show their maturity within the show. So for some context, Josh, this is like a reboot of Real Housewives of New York. All of these housewives are first year housewives, so they don't have the deep background in the game that you typically get from other shows. And I thought that we saw like really good moments, like with Jessel finding a way to not so subtly bring up the issue that Erin had with Brynn by making we'll do a dress swap, not a wife swap. I thought that was like
Yeah,
a really good
Yeah.
way to like stir things up without getting her hands all that dirty. I really liked how, Sai, who is pretty clearly on Brynn's side and aligning herself there, was trying to sort of play referee, and Brynn basically called her off and was like, I want to handle this myself, and sort of dealt with the situation in a way that was, she could find some resolution that made it so that Erin can't really keep banging this drum anymore. I really appreciated that. And I also really love to see Erin just stewing and getting so pissed while people are ordering food, while she's like clearly just wanting to get into it, and everyone is just like putting their order in.
Yeah,
So
that was
good.
I would have killed to have been that waiter getting to just go around the table and get the orders while this woman's staring daggers at you.
And of course, it was Sai who orders the food too. Sai, who I'm increasingly convinced is just like a colony of tapeworms inside a human coat. Just asking for food every 5 seconds.
Josh, do you have any other highlights from New York?
I mean, this episode definitely had like the most stuff going on into it. I feel like the dinner had a lot of stuff, and then like their next day, kind of going into their afternoon on the beach, was sort of odd. Like I feel like a lot of the like morning breakfast stuff was a little it was interesting from the perspective of they tried to use it as an opportunity to like, I guess, jumpstart the drama again. Like Erin, Sia, and Brynn, like they're literally talking about like, oh, we're on the same page again from last night, and then the breakfast ends in another fucking argument like right away. Like they're not talking again right away.
Yeah, I do enjoy Erin and Brynn's developing, as Ubah calls it, toxic relationship, where they're just like with faster and faster flipping the switch between like taking any opportunity to get at each other's throats and then immediately being like, but I love you, and then like going at each other with knives again the next moment they see each other.
But like then I felt like it was like an awkward pivot into the like random beach photo shoot, and I couldn't help but think the entire time that like what it must have been like to be on set with the cameras and having a producer be like, okay, say some photography type stuff over here. So I'm like, okay, yeah, you got it. Ladies, the choreographer is going to be here in 10 minutes, you know? And it felt like very I was like, why are you doing this right now?
The choreographer is just fucking Austin Powers.
Yeah, probably.
Dylan, what were your highlights from New York?
I do like the conversation. Like, I'm still Team Brynn when it comes to like defending her like flirting with Abe at the party that sucked, and she shouldn't have backed down about saying that the party was boring. It was boring. She should have stood her ground. And so I still think that was funny and good, and that Erin's just being humorless about it. But I do think that Brynn's defense of being like, I was clearly fake flirting. Like, how dare you ever accuse me of ever considering possibly real flirting with like a person in a relationship, is like kind of overstating the point and doesn't really hold water for me. Like, I just think if you're going to pretend, like, the thing about flirting is that like what the difference between flirting and just hitting on somebody is the like playfulness of it, the fact that it's like unserious, right? Like that's like, I think like that's how you define the difference. Like, you know, from the most positive angle, it's just like it's like hitting on somebody with like a bit of role playing and play acting involved. But from like a more negative angle, it's like hitting on somebody with plausible deniability built in. So to say like that was like fake flirting, it's like, well, flirting is always like play acting. It's always a game. So I don't think you really get to like make that distinction between what's fake flirting and what's real flirting. I don't think there is a clear distinction there. So I don't think that was a strong line of defense, even though I'm still on Brynn's side for that.
And again, her tagline is, I love to laugh, but make me mad and I'll date your dad. So
that's the thing. You can't make your whole thing about like, I flirt with every dude no matter what. And then as soon as somebody gets mad at you for it, be like, how dare you accuse me of that? Like, that's what you've been saying 6 times every episode. Like, yeah. I just think getting to playing that, yeah, but this is fake and it's never actually real. It's like just kind of like, is try to rest your defense on like a false dichotomy there. But it was an interesting conversation.
One last thing, and then I'll shut up. My favorite moment of all of this was like, it was 40 minutes of vapid nonsense that ended on this stellar line. What are you, a Federalist? Like talking about the George Washington. I was like, what? That was hysterical. Get those words out of your mouth. It was so good.
Dylan, did you have any other highlights from New York?
Ubah is a highlight. I didn't expect her to take Erin's side. That was unexpected. But you know, good for her to take kind of a different position than the other girls.
I also like that she made it clear in her confessionals that she was not specifically taking Erin's side, but taking the side of a married woman.
Right, taking the side of the principal, not the actual situation, kind of.
Yeah.
Just lots of like classic, like cute airhead Ubah moments. When somebody suggested me to change the topic, and she's like, "Nobody's told me I look beautiful today." Like, that was just a funny delivery.
She was like a spokesperson for Africa for a good 10 minutes.
Which was cool.
Yeah.
I liked it. She was
totally.
being like, if this is paradise, Africa's heaven or something. Yeah. That was cool. Also, we see her waking up in bed, and she's reading. You know, something you don't always see these women do, reading a book. And usually, if they do, they like blur out the cover. And they didn't really blur out the cover enough on this one, because I was very easily able to find Soulmates by Iris Gateno Tarbuck. And it is wild, man. It is I downloaded it today. And it's just like self-help kind of stuff, but about like finding your soulmate and like how to have good sex and stuff, written by this Israeli woman. And like, I think it was, as far as I can tell, it was originally published in English, which is wild because it reads like Google Translate, like just like very awkward broken sentences. Just things like, if you want love, live, be in love with life, believe that you are worthy of love, and the energy with which you will then radiate will turn your dreams into reality. To achieve that, you have to work much on yourself, removing your blockages from the past, elevate your heart frequency, get to know and start loving yourself. Sometimes you don't have to do all this because life may occasionally be a game with accidental winnings. Don't
Girl,
take
tell it.
yourself, life, love rigidly and too seriously. Let the unplanned variances happen. Believe that your life is already perfect and that it is remarkably leading you towards the fulfillment of your wishes. And it just goes on that for like 100
That's a
pages.
very long sentence.
It's so cool. There was a couple sentences in there and one ellipsis, to be fair. But I do kind of want to get a tattoo that says life may occasionally be a game with accidental winnings. Because there's something just kind of like, there's a haunting mystery about that broken phrase that like really appeals
There's
to
an
me.
uncomfortable truth there that I don't like acknowledging. Yeah, it's a good one.
There's also this whole passage about why like a woman's vagina is like an octopus that sucks energy out of a man, which seems to really misunderstand both vaginas and octopuses. Obviously I've
You
skimmed
sure you don't
through
want to
it,
get that one tattooed?
There's room for both. Anyways, I was pleased because I would expect Ubah to read something this fucking weird, and it's always nice for me to have like a glimpse into like what some of these weirdos read, because like for another show I was doing, I was like researching some stuff that used to be like published in America in like the 1600s and 1700s, and like tracks about like theosophy and things, and like weird pseudo philosophical things that people used to publish all the time and used to read, that are just going on like vibes and dreams about like, this is my conception of the world. And it's just always cool when you come across something and you realize that kind of shit never stopped. You just like, it's just not part of the things that you're used to paying attention to, but there is a whole bunch of other people out there who are reading like all these like very strange, like, you know, vibes based pseudo philosophical self-help books. I appreciated opening that little trap door and falling down it for a couple hours. So thanks, Ubah. Thanks for that.
And what was the name of the book again?
Soulmates.
By
There's a subtitle too, which is something about like finding love, and I don't remember what the subtitle is, but yeah. So check it out. I'm gonna be recommending that.
What was that author again?
yeah.
Iris Gatingno Tarbuck.
And
Yeah,
look out for
her.
the film adaptation on Fireside. Any
for
other
sure.
highlights from New York, Dylan?
No, not really. I mean, I think we pretty much covered all of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that about does it for me as well. The one other thing that stood out to me is that I was absolutely shocked on the drive home that Erin mentioned that she's the youngest one of this group. Like, I don't know, were you guys
I missed that
surprised
one.
by that at all?
That's
Not really, to be honest. I mean, Brynn also seems youthful, but she's also said that she's 36 in a previous episode, so that didn't like blow my mind that she's the youngest. No.
Okay,
Who
just
did
the
you think was the youngest then?
I would have assumed Brynn was the youngest, actually.
Yeah, she's the other competitor, right?
I would have guessed, yeah, Brynn or Ubah,
Mhm.
but Erin, I don't know. I would have put Erin as at least as old as Sai, probably older. Or Jessel actually seems younger too. So, no, yeah, I would have expected that Erin was oldest or second oldest,
Really?
to be honest.
Don't let her hear that.
Yeah, won't tag her in that reel, that's for sure.
But you all look 21. You all look 21.
Yeah.
No, just like not so much the way they look, just the way that like she carries herself, just being so uptight.
Sure. Yeah. The way she's married to a man who's a deadhead. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But I guess one other thing that kind of came to mind while thinking about these episodes that we were covering kind of back to back is I am starting to come around to what Erin is bringing to the table as a housewife, and you know,
Butternut
the fact
soup.
Yeah,
Sorry,
well,
go on.
she's she's very like unlikable, but it really comes down to like her hypersensitivity is what is her best quality as a housewife. She's not likable, but she takes everything personally and is like really resentful of anything that anyone says. But I like another housewife that is like that we saw this week. We didn't we saw it kind of manifest a little bit on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City with Meredith. She's a very like hypersensitive housewife, and I just find her so much more likable, like immediately likable than Erin, and I can't really put my finger on why that is.
Maybe Erin just needs more seasoning in the game. She also does give off a little bit of an entitlement vibe too, I think, which is part of her unlikability for me anyways. Like there's like a bit of a whiff of that but it is a good point that her sensitivity is like a valuable asset. It's something that the shows need too. You need sensitive people. You don't just need the stirrers with the spoons in every pocket. You need people with cups to be stirred. There has to be, people who react.
Yeah, exactly.
I do think that Meredith is maybe a little better at being nuanced and how she like leverages the social capital she's built up from the one fucking episode I've seen. Where I will say that it sort of felt like Erin was like brash maybe, or like more like on the nose with the way she's trying to like, I'm trying to make a problem right now, here's a non-issue.
A little less delicate about how she like approached those situations for sure. I think you're like bang on with that. And also to your point, Dylan, I think that is maybe just a symptom of having been on these shows for a lot longer. Like Meredith has an additional 3 seasons under her belt, so she knows how to approach these a little bit better. But so we could see this happen as Erin becomes a little bit more seasoned. I think that about covers most of what I wanted to talk about this week. Did you guys have any other final thoughts?
Did you guys have any reactions to the Ying Yoni commentary when they were sunning themselves?
There's more of that like weird bullshit that I love, that like kind of strange, like mystical, like somewhat yoga inspired mindset. It's
just like heavily mixing philosophies and religions of like, it's yin yang meets yoni meets a concept now.
just picking some buzzwords from like Sanskrit and Chinese and just like giving them new definitions that just mean like live your true life and stuff, and then just kind of blending it all together is fun to me. So my reaction,
just as long as you say it
great.
Like confidently enough, then you're good.
70% of anything is confidence, especially statistics. I loved it. She was just like, this is the thing, you should do it, and she was very confident in it. It was dope. And I just love the line, like, your yoni is your life force. You're supposed to let the yang, the sun's vitamin D's, penetrate you. Like, while she's got her feet up to the sky. Super awkward.
Another, like, fantastic moment with Real Housewives of New York that I had in my notes here was the alternate reality edit that we got of Brynn doing her like
that's something
her
I've
sharing
never seen before.
And
I don't think
splicing in the clip of Jenna being like, by the way, my name is Judith, and the like strong reaction was so funny. It was
that
very
fake?
good.
Was that like not a real
so it was like
or?
taking two actual clips together and like put them together in the edit to create this alternate reality.
I definitely like laughed out loud as soon as that happened. It was very funny. I couldn't tell 100%, but I thought maybe it was fake.
It was really good. Josh, thank you so much for doing this. Do you want to remind everyone where they can find you and your podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. Again, for everybody, I am Josh Greenway. I am the resident dungeon newbie of Crash Course DM, available as a tabletop role-playing game podcast on all your favorite podcasting platforms, or on YouTube as well, under @CrashCourseDM.
Awesome. Everyone check that out. Dylan, how about yourself?
I'm going to mention again a limited 4-episode podcast series that I just wrapped up, The Devil You Don't. It's a sort of a history show about the New Jersey cryptid, the Jersey Devil, and its intersections with American history. So a lot of funny and weird stories from 300 years of history in that region. All 4 episodes are now available online wherever you're listening to this. The Devil You Don't.
That sounds like some great inspiration for a Stephen King novel.
I will have to message him. You should get on.
Just let him know. Could you let him know I said that?
Yeah, for sure. I'll credit you. Don't worry.
We'll tag them in the show notes. That's been Bravo Outsider for this week. You can find us online, bravooutsider.com. We'll update the website eventually, but you can find us on YouTube or Instagram, TikTok,
Fireside.
X, Fireside.
Fireside.
Check out our channel on Fireside, Bravo Outsider channel. Live
that applause
in
button.
BO. Until next week, keep on wifing.